This is the lake management meeting that will come to order. It is 7:00. And this meeting is being recorded. Anybody else recording the meeting must notify me. So I can note. And I'll do the attendance. Norm Cheever.
Here.
Mike Coombs is not, Malcolm DeBay.
Aye.
Mike DeBay.
Aye.
Dick Reynolds, aye. Scotty Graves.
Aye.
Eric is not here. Paul Murphy's not here. Paul Yocum.
Aye.
And we've verified everybody. Okay. That's done. All right. 7:00. And the minutes of the meeting from the last meeting. Everybody has had a chance to read them.
Yes.
Didn't see anything else.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to accept them.
Malcolm,
I'll second
it.
That's fine.
Scotty. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous? Okay. Again, Norm Cheever,
Aye.
Malcolm DeBay,
Aye.
Mike DeBay,
Aye.
Dick Reynolds, aye. Scotty Graves.
Aye.
Paul Yocum,
Aye.
affirmed. Okay, done with that. Page 2, Paul Harvey. All right. And Concom update, Norm.
Not much to report. We had some damage in the North Pond Conservation Area. We closed off the quote scenic trail, which is basically the trail that had the famous rope swing on it.
Oh, yeah, okay,
And we snow fenced it off. The State wanted us to, it's not a legitimate trail.
yep.
Pension wants to let it grow back.
Yep,
And one snow fence was cut. I repaired that one.
Wow.
And the big one was, they threw a limb on top of the snow fence and just crushed it. I repaired that one. And I see people on there, they're not supposed to be in there.
No.
Teenagers down swimming. So we had a good meeting with the police chief and Diane Gale. And we have an action plan in place, and we're gonna put up a lot of signs. Including the parking lot signs.
yeah,
And all the do's and don'ts, what you can do and can't do. We'll be doing surveillance. And we're gonna change the entrances to try to prevent motorcycles, four-wheelers.
places where they can get in.
And mountain bikes too.
Hmm.
Mountain bikes aren't allowed in there. So a lot going on there.
Hmm.
As far as Concom and Suffield, there was nothing on their agenda again that had anything to do with the lake. And so that's pretty much the Concom update.
Okay, I have to ask, anything come up about that 158 Berkshire?
We talked about 158 Berkshire. Here's a scenario. This Dick called me on a Friday afternoon saying that there looked like there was a vehicle,
Machine,
vehicle on the shore at 158. I couldn't go on Friday. I was in the middle of something. But I did go over the weekend and I took pictures, and there was obviously damage in there with a track vehicle. So they damaged the whole shoreline and it's right next to the town beach. So you
right,
can
so
easily
down
go in
the
and take
old town,
pictures.
the old town beach
The old town beach,
on Berkshire.
What happened?
Guy using a machine down there.
yeah. So Monday I came in here to meet with Sabrina to talk about what we're gonna do, and she's gonna immediately send out a letter saying cease and desist. And so she started working that, and she asked me how many boats and docks were in, because this is a habitual offender,
Yeah,
year over year.
no permits for anything.
And I said, I didn't notice that, but I'll go back. And I went back that afternoon, Monday afternoon. And I almost missed it because I was only looking for boats and docks. And then I went back and said, I thought I saw something else. And there were 4 giant piles of sand on the shore now.
Oh,
Oh, he's creating.
miraculously, they found their way there.
they found their way there. So I quickly called Sabrina, took more pictures, and she sent a letter out, cease and desist to the owner. And the owner got it on Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I went out there at 10 o'clock, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday, and it had been spread. And the owner says he doesn't live there, his brother lives there.
Hmm.
So. And so the upshot was, we're gonna keep an eye on it, but we're not gonna take any fine action because we didn't actually observe everything. And everything happened before we got the letter, supposedly.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll be monitoring it as will others.
Hmm.
So that's
Wow.
the latest on that.
Have they applied for their document?
I don't believe 158 has that one.
I could believe that. Why spoil a perfect record?
Yeah, there you go. That's
So
fine.
we'll get them this year for sure.
Okay,
And the next one is MPIC.
yeah,
And I put together a draft schedule of a proposed measurement package for each of the organizations that have lead actions. And the MPIC group decided to ask me to do 3 dry runs with it to get feedback on what to think of the measurement plan. So I'm doing you guys tonight.
okay,
I'm gonna do Concom on Monday, and Wednesday I'm doing economic development. Okay. So I'll put it on the screen, plus I'll have copies. If you pass those down.
is it what's in here already, or is that another?
This is not something totally different.
Okay,
I know, there's something totally different.
Yeah. So you can pass those down.
So let's share.
yeah, that's a whole package.
Send your record. Go straight to the center. So we can solve and share.
Yep.
Sharing not turned on, it says.
Coming.
Okay, now I should be able to.
Yeah.
Be with you in a second. Light show from the beginning. Okay. So. Give you the startup here. We've also decided that we debated whether it should be, whether the scorecard should be based on the fiscal calendar or the monthly calendar, yearly calendar. And we decided that it would be the fiscal calendar, so year 1 will begin 7/1 of this year. Okay?
Mhm.
Now, the next one is understanding what the process is gonna be. Each organization has a choice, they can either agree to complete all their assignments in X amount of years. And we'll take the number of actions divided by the number of years and get the number of completions that they're signing up for per year. Or they can give us, we'll do year 1, we'll do this many, year 2, we'll do this many, year 3, we'll do this many. Each action will be worth 100 points. 100 points times the number of completions will be the goal for the year. And then we're gonna use the action outline, I'll give you a demonstration of that in a minute. Will be how we identify where the points accumulate. Points will be cumulative over the years, no penalty for early completion. Okay, MPEC recommends that you do a minimum of 1 a year and a maximum number of years is 7. It'll be easy for us, it'll be really difficult for planning board and select board because they have a ton of them. Okay, so I have, here's where team will earn points. Okay. Prepare an outline with responsibilities. With cumulative percent complete targets on it, and that will get you 15 points. Reach the 25% complete target, you get 15 more, 50, you get 15 more, 75, 15 more. Incorporation of the support parties, you get 20. Secure funding 10, project complete 10 for a total of 100, as I said. So each item has got 100 points, and this is how we get it off the outline, okay? And I have a sample outline. And I chose on a lot of projects. But this is the one about erosion. Okay, so you wanna make the outline pretty simple, okay? Generate the outline, responsible parties, cumulative ascension points is the goal. Research type of lake erosion was our first thing. I did that and got us to 25 more points. We got 10 points for the outline. Research type of preventative solution got us to the 50 points, so we got another 15 points. Research companies and approximate costs didn't get us to any more thresholds, but it did get us to 60% complete. Prepare the draft letter to waterfront owners approval from LLC. And we finally did that, although I haven't made the corrections to that letter yet. So we are effectively 75% complete with our first action item. And we got 60 points towards the goal. So next thing we do is after I bring back a draft letter for you to approve, we'll send the draft letter to the support parties for feedback. We'll modify the letter to incorporate support parties' input. Then we'll secure funding. Ours is gonna be easy to find, all we got is printing and mailing costs. And then we'll mail a letter.
Yeah, I'll comment on, for instance, in this one, secure funding. If it relates to the lake level, which is strictly a function of rain, and we can't do anything to get rid of the water when the beavers take over, and the
Right.
only way we can do that is to dredge the canal. And the only way we can do that is the feds coughing up
Yeah,
about $30 million.
yeah, well, remember, we had, what was it, 13 different items that we can attack.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you know, this thing could wind up going forever until we get a change in Washington.
Right, but by getting this, we're signed up to send the letter out,
Yeah,
okay?
and that's good.
Okay? So here's an example of, I remember I set this up initially, everything was gonna be cumulative points. Year-over-year scorecard. For this sample, year one, this committee signed up for two completions, year two, year three, 2, year 4, 2, and year 5, 1. Which meant that they signed up for 200 points. For the first year, another 200 for the second year, for a cumulative of 400, and so on and so forth. So for the first year, they actually consumed or earned 220 points. So they were 110% of their goal. So if you look down the bottom, green is 90 to 100%. So they are, for the first year, they're green. Okay. Year two, they signed up for additional 2. So their cumulative goal was now 400. Second year, they gained another 190 points for a total of cumulative points of 410. So now they stand at the end of year 2 at 102.5%, which is still green.
Was year one then, last year?
No, year
This
one
year.
starts July.
July.
How do we already have these?
He
points
did it
already?
already.
We've already
He's
done
just
the
showing-
sample.
Sample.
Just an example.
I got it. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna
Okay.
say we're already done.
Yeah, right.
No, this is the sample.
Just a
Okay,
sample.
year
Got it.
3, they only got 170 points for the year. So their cumulative went to 580 against the goal of 600. So they're 97.7%, but that's still green because green's 90 to the 100. Year 4, they only got 85 points. So they got 665 against the goal of 800, 83%. That puts them in the yellow category. And year 5, they didn't get anything done. Okay, so they got 665 points against the goal of 900. They fell to 74%. So for the year 5, they would be red. Okay, so the benefit here is the cumulative points help you. You over accumulate points in year 1, it helps you in year 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So now if you look at the individual scorecard, we're looking at the same numbers from the prior page. They did 200, they did two, they accomplished two, so they got 100%, so they're green. Year two, they did promise two, they got two, so they're still 100%. Year three, they promised two, but only did one.
Hmm.
So they dropped 50%, which flipped into red.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a disadvantage
Example
of yearly goals versus cumulative goals.
of, hmm,
Year three, they were back on track and they were green. Year four, they were still on track, so they were green, and so I think on the individual scorecards, we would not see any yellows. I think we'll only see yellows on the audit claim and action item being complete, submit a paper to MPIC. State what the theme is, the chapter, the action item. What the action item was written, a synopsis of what transpired, evidence of the support groups were involved. The funding is required, has it been secured? What is the plan to keep the progress sustainable? MPIC approves the request and forward to the select and planning boards for final approval. Okay, so that's how we call them. So what would that, we'll be doing a year-end report at the total level, okay? And this is what it would probably look like at this point in time. There were 135 action items. Hopefully we'll be saying all organizations have set their goals in completion of all actions, for completions of all actions. Hopefully all actions have been started. Why actions have been completed. All 27 lead organizations have started projects. And organizations that have completed at least one action is X amount.
now, can I ask you to email me this so I can email it to everybody?
Sure.
Cause like Eric's not here and,
Absolutely.
Yeah, Paul Murphy and all those guys.
yeah,
Yep.
what we're missing,
And then at the bottom.
Mike Coombs.
Mike Coombs, yeah,
Yeah, I'll
we're
be-
missing,
Be glad to.
okay,
We'll give an award to the one organization of the 27 that does the most for the year, okay? So this is, again, the year-end report, and it will list all 27 organizations. And whether they're red, or yellow, and green on the cumulative, and whether they're red, yellow, and green on the year-end. Okay?
okay,
And so there's three of these to get us to 27.
very good. All right,
And. No, that is great. Well, this is a sample scorecard for the Agricultural Commission at the end of year one. And this shows you the advantages of cumulative effect.
Hmm.
They didn't actually complete any. Yes, they did complete first item. No, they didn't. Okay, mine is blocked off here. Okay. On item number one, they completed 80 points, so they didn't get to 100. But on economic development 3.2, the second item, they got 45 points. And on the third item, they got another 30 points. So on the cumulative chart, they were supposed to do 100, they did 155, so they're green, okay?
But nothing was completed.
But nothing was completed, okay? That's the advantage of the cumulative.
front loading,
Yeah.
Unloading, yeah, it's true.
Okay, now here it is for the sample scorecard for year two. No, wait. Okay, now let's look at the takeaway in the bottom. On the individual scorecard would be a red because they didn't complete any items when they had signed up for one. Okay, so they get a green on cumulative, a red on individual. For year two, the cumulative effect here was they signed up for another one to be done. So they had to get 200 points. They actually had a cumulative of 295. So they remained above 200. So they were green. And on the individual rating, They signed up for one, they did one, so they got a green rating for the individual.
And this is a theoretical,
This is theoretical,
right,
just to show you how
just
it
show
works.
how it works.
Okay, and this is to thank everyone that's doing their prioritizations. So far, 20 of 44 organizations have sent in their prioritizations.
And you're hoping to have all 44 by July 1st?
There's some that are small that we won't get. Like the Rotary Club, the Lions Club. You know,
Oh, so it even goes beyond,
even beyond our local boards and
Huh.
committees. And so the Chamber of Commerce is on there, so we don't expect to get those. But we do want to get every lead and almost all of the current committees, boards,
Mhm.
commissions that are in existence today. So that's the presentation.
Okay,
You know, I'd be glad to take any feedback. So, we'll talk to them, but if you have any questions on the process, the individual versus the cumulative.
and I think the only thing that we have talked about before, and I would just stress again, is that. I know for us. One of the major, and it shows up with several actions. Relates to. What happens to Canal Brook and Great Brook?
And funding. It's
And
just all
well,
about
that was the next, my words, which. No way, the state, we can't afford it, the state can't afford it, and the only ones that we'll ever get any money out of to do it are the feds, and right now that is. Zero.
Well, that'll be dry until probably a Democratic president comes back into
Right,
position.
right. And it may get drier, that's the problem,
Oh.
is that, seems like it's getting worse before it's gonna get better. There's so many things that are, I mean, the latest thing is that the, what do you call it, the. National Institute of Health and the CDC got. Kind of got the axe with their funding and with their people. They threw out the whole freaking,
Committee.
Vaccination gone. I mean, you think about, and the NOAA's screaming because they aren't gonna be able to do any weather predictions, because they don't have, they got Zippo. So, I mean, it's the old, everybody to port side of the boat and it tips this way. And tips this way, and then everybody starboard side, you know, and we got a ship that's just go like this. And you can't understand why you can't write it.
I dug up some newspaper articles over the last couple of weeks, going through some of the junk I had at home. Talked about lake level concerns in 1982.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Okay, so we only been working on it
forever.
40 years.
40,
Yeah.
43 years.
No, we've been working on it for 35. We're in
Yeah.
existence
Yeah.
for 35.
Yeah.
Actually, this is our 36th year,
Super.
my 36th year. I'm the only one that was here originally.
And 30 something for me,
Yeah,
somewhere.
Right.
30 something.
So any feedback anybody wants to give me?
no, I think
Yeah.
I like I like the way for measurement and for displaying it, keeps it simple.
Yeah.
You know, it's very visual. And like I said, I think the toughest part is going to be so many of, and it's not just us, there's no doubt in my mind that if you look at, just look at what's happening in Massachusetts, what they've had to cut back. For instance, here's the snowball effect. The feds cut back huge amounts of funding for the schools. They're actually trying to eliminate the DOE entirely.
Yeah.
And they already axed billions and billions and billions of dollars of school funding. Now that means each state has got to make up or abandon whatever the plan was.
Yep.
And in many cases, you know, there were schools that were planned to be built to replace, you know, old relics. There's funding for programs and projects and and it's gone. And the state can't make it up. states. I don't even wanna blame it on Massachusetts. It's,
So either the town pays or they nix the project.
right,
Yeah.
right. And, you know, yeah, you know what flows downhill.
So. On the cumulative report here.
Yeah,
If you do all the work and it doesn't get funded,
yeah,
you get 80 points. So you can use that. To your good.
yeah,
You won't get the 20 until it's
so it's
funded,
funded.
but you'll at least have the 80. that
Yeah.
You can be applied to.
But that's something that we'll have to, you know, we're gonna have to chew on what's realistic. On some of the items, and in some cases, they're redundant. You know, there's some of them that are overlapping. I don't wanna say redundant, but overlapping.
Yeah.
And you can't do B without doing A. So. Alrighty. Moving
Is
along.
Michelle coming on? I thought I heard.
Michelle, are you on?
Yeah, 'cause I thought for some reason you had put that in the note.
Well, it's here because I was hoping she would be. No guess.
Cause they had a meeting on Tuesday, didn't they?
Yeah,
Anything good, Paul? Did you go to that meeting?
Yeah, I was there, the police chief was there in his role as harbor master and did some speaking. Nothing of any real great import. Then the fundraising things that are going on, they spoke about the golf tournament, 4th of July, that sort of thing. They're still all in the town.
I have not seen, you may wanna carry that back.
Mhm.
I don't have, she's gotta get that out right away. Unless she's already got it and I just didn't get a copy of it, the permit for the boat parade.
I'll check.
Cause that usually takes
A while.
a while. And it's getting slower. Because they again. They laid off so many EPOs. And, you know, because of funding,
So what is involved in getting the
and
permit?
she has the forms.
So it's just, put
It's
the
a,
forms
you
in,
gotta,
they get
yeah,
approved.
it's an online submittal. It has to be signed by myself and by the harbor master, then it goes to the. What's it called? It's really.
So how long is the signature though, time
Yeah,
wise?
yeah, and that's. Normally, you wanna allow 3 weeks, and we don't have 3 weeks. And I keep reminding them, things gotta get done.
Okay,
I can take care of my end right away and we can get, I can get it over to the chief right away, but he has to also issue a new letter. Because, and so he's new to doing this, so he's gotta pick up the letter from before and then either change it or stamp it, you know, rubber stamp
Yeah.
it, make it the same.
last year, this year.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
I have last year's, and I gave that to Michelle, and she has last year's.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah, so it really,
Who's the third person that's gonna sign it? You, the chief?
myself, and then it goes to Boston, to the head of the environmental police. Who's, I think, called a director, but he's got 2 titles,
Is he still there?
as far as I know, he's still there. He's in my phone, he's in my phone, so I hope he's still there.
I'll get a hold of Michelle,
Yeah, and if she needs anything, you know, call me.
will do.
Yeah, deliver the letter to sooner the better, right? Okay, thank you for that. So the cove and shallow dredging, no new news, no money yet, elephant ears. 159 Berkshire Avenue, if you go to page 27. And so that's been going back and forth. The last thing, Eric sent out, and because we had not seen a schedule yet, firm schedule, and, you know, it came back from Randy with an answer, and then Eric countered. And he said, you know, have we sent out the letter we've been discussing? I'm thinking that the sooner we send it out, the more impact it'll have, the more time we'll have to see if the project goes forward, blah, blah, blah. And the problem is if they only start measuring when it fails, when it doesn't happen in December by, I think it's December 15th or whatever that date is.
Yeah,
It's too late, because you can't start construction in the middle of winter.
sure.
And it would be 6 years with no action.
Now, I'm also concerned now that there's a good chance we're gonna lose Randy Brown.
We are,
Where's he going?
he's going to Westfield. He already announced it, gave his 2 week notice and was
Oh,
in the
he gave his
newspaper.
notice? Okay.
Was in,
Who's coming in his spot?
don't know. I have no idea
It's
who it is.
it's back to back.
They haven't even,
They haven't thought about it.
Now he's in charge of DPW?
yeah,
Yeah, Randy.
And he's in charge of this project.
yeah,
And they took him to what they take him?
he went to Westfield.
You went to Westfield.
Wow.
So this.
And we
letter-
lost our building inspector too. He went to, I believe, Hadley.
So this letter, in my eyes, now becomes imperative.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if he's gone, and it'll take them
So
forever. to
what I would
It
ask,
should be countersigned by somebody's that's going to be here.
yeah, because it can wind up being another Concom issue if this happens again,
Yeah.
a major Concom. Not just lake management, but a major disaster. And I think being chair of Concom, you could come back on this. Now, you could say, now Randy is leaving, and copy all the same people on here.
Yeah,
It'll help, coming from Concom, not another lake management, you know.
Yeah, okay.
Because, gotta get that thing out before he leaves, because he gave us 2 week notice.
No.
when did he give that?
Was Tuesday, I think.
Hasn't been here that long, has he?
Tell you, 11 years. I'll tell you when it was.
Where did he come from anyways? Was he just, Randy was just here for a,
He was at Ty and Bond.
oh, he was.
Let me just look. Kyle.
You get that out tomorrow.
Yeah. So it was 2 weeks as of 2 weeks from June 10th.
So it's gonna be right around July.
Yeah,
Gonna be
1st of July.
First, right before that, yeah,
Yeah,
right before that,
yeah.
24th.
So we gotta get that thing in concrete before then.
It's the end of next week, Rick, actually.
And what it really should be is it should have a definitive time for it to be there, or the fines start now.
Right.
In other words, not when you don't do the work, the fine, if you don't come up with a plan by, and it ought to be, that plan ought to be in place by the middle of July with completion by mid-September. Because you want time for the stuff to grow during growing season. Those should be the 2 targets.
Yeah.
And the fines will start if you don't have the plan, and then if you don't start on time, fines will be in effect. And I can copy, once you do it from a Concom, then I can take that and then add more to it,
Okay.
and I know Eric will. Alrighty, so I'm just gonna make a note, Storm. Mail. And then me, I'll follow up with Eric and Dick, email. So we'll get yours in and then we can comment on that. Chestnut Circle Canal, Eric's not here. There's been a lot of dialogue and you were on that, on the emails. What's going on is that next to Chestnut Circle is the old canal for that mini subdivision
Over on the other side of,
on the Connecticut side.
on Babs, right up from Babs.
Yeah,
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 right,
We
that,
were
that big
we were
grade.
looking at it the other day.
and there's a lot of nasty water that's probably coming into the lake there, because if you go backwards, in the last meeting, I put in a map of that area, and it's a big area that Markowski's excavating the hell out of.
The pond over, he's making a new pond or whatever. he's
Yeah,
doing.
but those are connected to that
Mhm.
intermittent
Yeah,
stream.
right. It's where it starts.
Right,
basically, yeah.
right, exactly. And so not only do we get all the stuff that he's digging up,
You get the muck.
but you also get all the fertilizers and pesticides and everything else that go on that land. Because he's not growing Christmas trees anymore.
No.
Anything on that side of Babs Road, for what it's worth, if you had your water tested and you had well water, it would say baby shouldn't drink this water.
Right.
Because of the
Tobacco.
DDT or whatever
Yeah.
they were using years.
And then the
The
potatoes
nasty
didn't
stuff
help.
years
Right,
ago.
right,
Yeah, yeah.
and it was in the water,
Mine too.
right?
They used to put that stuff down, Mike, for half a lane steam.
I
Yeah,
know.
we're really drinking lake water.
Yeah,
For what
right,
it's worth.
so anyway, so
Has Eric done any testing yet?
I don't know, cause Eric's not here. I did send him a follow-up. Just as a reminder, I just got the bill from, what do you call it, Microbac Labs. And I got, and the report, so what I gotta do, I just got it before I came up
Okay.
here. So I'm gonna read it and see if it happens, it's a whole bunch of samples, more than normal. And so I gotta see if some of those are identified on that report.
Did he test that area right there?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, that's what I gotta ask him. So I will do that.
Cause as soon as we find out we got bad readings, then I'll jump on Suffield.
It always ran into the lake,
Oh, yeah,
all
Oh,
these
yeah.
years. It always ran into the lake.
Yeah.
All these years. But when Hernowitz was developing that property, he dug it out, he cleaned it out and made
Yeah.
a nice canal. So he could sell some.
Waterfront.
Well, 7 or 8 houses with water access, lake access.
right, right.
That was the thing.
And you
then
can-
over the
I mean,
years,
you can't even get a
filled
canoe in there
in.
now,
It filled in.
It's a mess. Wow, it's a mess.
you know, and it's probably been used as a dumping ground for leaves and everything
Oh,
else.
it has been for years.
Yeah,
No question.
alright, I will, I'll follow up with him. Follow up with Eric. Test. And what he was gonna do, and I said I would make arrangements, because I know the property owner that has the property at the mouth of it, where it enters Congamon. He's my next door neighbor's brother. And he would let us go up and on his property,
Go up and look.
oh yeah, in a heartbeat.
Now he's on, not Chestnut Circle side, the other side.
He owns both sides. His land, if you look at and I already looked
Oh,
it
but
up.
you gotta get to it. Gotta get to it you gotta go across Hernowitz's nephew's house to get to the opening from
Right.
that side,
Right,
you know.
and
you know,
so, but since he owns both sides. And, you know, he would let us go.
Yeah.
And go right up.
Yeah.
And get samples so that it's not diluted by the lake. That was the point, is you
Yeah.
wanna get what's
Yeah.
coming in,
Yeah.
not what's being backflowed into the
When you
canal.
go down there, could you go in from the water? I couldn't remember.
Maybe with
Could
a
you-
canoe or something. I don't
Well,
think
no,
it
we
goes-
were just there the.
I mean, originally he dug it deep enough to go away by boat.
Oh, yeah,
Hernowitz used to go there every so many years and clean it
Clean
up
it.
as a courtesy
right,
to those people.
yeah,
And then somebody gave him a ration of crap one year and he said, well, stick it, I'm not gonna do it anymore. And that was the end of it.
Now it's a
Just like
mess.
that.
It's even worse.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
mean,
know
there were
that.
correct crafts up in that canal, like
yeah.
to get out to the lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm just wondering what it is now. Have you been down there recent? Cause we were there and we didn't even go. We should have went.
well, if you look at it, I
We'll
mean,
go in tomorrow. or
you just
something.
look at it on Google Earth and it's a, you know.
Yeah, it's a slip.
You could put a toy boat down it,
If you just drive down Halliday, you can see most of it.
yeah, right,
It's on the left side.
Yeah.
Going down there.
Is that before the beach there? There's a beach with a big blue house. Which side, is that on more towards the south?
well, if you go
Where
in,
is that?
he.
You know the house with the public, the
Yeah,
private.
if you go in
private
Chestnut
beaches?
Circle, he's the last house, if you're heading due west
Yeah,
on Chestnut Circle, before it turns and heads south,
yeah,
he's the house down on the waterfront. Where it meets Congamon,
'Cause
so
I know the
he's
guy
on
who
both,
owns
he's
it.
on the canal and
Just
on.
think of the association beach.
where
You
that
know the
is.
association beach
And
is?
then there's a big blue house.
Right,
next to
and
it.
then you have Hernowitz's nephew.
And then it's
in the
one-
next house,
Right,
and then the
I
canal.
gotta go check that out because I know the guy, I know, the cop there.
I mean, my wife lived on that street, how would they have?
I gotta go look that up. 'Cause
Chris,
I think I know that area.
That's Chris, I know him very well. He's doing triathlons with me.
yeah, cause he actually worked for us for a couple of years,
Chris did?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought
Yeah.
he went to, he was in Enfield.
Yeah,
down
he's a
at-
cop in
Granby
Enfield,
now.
yeah,
He's
oh, no
a
kidding,
cop in Granby now. He retired from Enfield. He did the dogs. You knew that, right?
yeah.
I was at his house
He's
the
a
other
good
day.
guy.
I swam down to Scotty's house from his house.
Wow,
Yeah,
Hurwitz, my.
tell him I said hello.
I
I will.
mean, he's the son, you know, the brother's son.
Oh, yeah.
Paul's brother's son. He
Right,
might let him, if people talk to him, right about it, you know, and.
Yeah,
treat it
I'll find
nice
out from
about
Chris. I'll talk to him tomorrow.
yeah,
Okay.
it. Mm,
all right. And,
Cause it should be dug out, bottom line,
Yeah.
should be cleaned out.
and then, but we gotta find out what's coming in. from
Well, that's, you
farm.
don't wanna
Yeah.
clean it out and have garbage
Yeah,
coming in.
Right, right.
And then anyways,
Yeah, I know it's coming anyways, but you're right.
you need to address what's coming in
You
as
might be
well,
right.
obviously.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a pond there on their property.
Multiple,
Well, yeah, but they show on topographical and that sort of thing. So are they spring fed?
There's what again?
They show on topographical maps.
the
So
ponds on her, on
on
Markowski
Markowski
plan,
property,
yeah.
they show as being a pond.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering if they're spring fed. Because if it was just runoff, they wouldn't be shown on a topo map.
Good point.
They might be spring fed
Yeah.
because they irrigate
That's
from them.
that's a
They
good
always
point.
did.
Yeah. And that's what I thought they were doing, was clearing it out so they could irrigate easier.
Well, and you can't tell because one day there's a hole dug, the next day it's filled up.
Did anybody ever ask him what he's doing? I mean, I thought he's taking the mud out of there to fill in down by Ebbs Corner.
That's what I thought, but,
That's what it looked like.
but you can't tell because the topo changes week to week. One day there's a pile here and a hole here. The next day there's a hole over
Well,
there
it's-
and a pile
But
here.
is somebody giving him grief over whatever's taking place?
No.
Maybe
not
somebody
my
slapped
knowledge.
his hand and says you can't do it, I don't know. I
I don't-
should ask him.
Well,
Concom would know.
I reported it to Suffield Concom.
Oh, that's right, it's Suffield.
Yeah.
And he never gave me any feedback if he took any action or not.
Yeah. See, I don't know,
Just
I
be
don't,
Clearing muck out of his ponds.
yeah, and it depends on what you do with that,
Yeah.
you know, and what's in it.
Yeah.
You can't, you can't just,
Right
Yeah.
now, it's all to the side.
oh yeah, it's
You know,
huge.
let's do it,
I
Eric.
mean, the old man died, the mother's still alive, and one of the sons moved in with her.
Right,
That I know,
and, yeah,
but I don't know him well. I know the other brother well.
yeah,
And the
All
other,
right.
and the other one
We'll find out.
blew his brains out. We'll leave it.
yeah.
Okay.
So the next thing was the otters at the ramps and you can read the,
That's a joke. Those things are cool, by the way.
oh
Oh,
yeah,
I love those.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
down, they're down.
they're
in the canal.
playful. You watch them, they have a lot of fun.
They come right up to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're cool. I saw them.
yeah.
They come right by the canal.
So, like they said, just leave them alone, you know. And let's see, 38 to 44. I think the only one that can help us here, Paul, what you need to do is send another. Cause you're only good till June 30th.
Yeah, Diane Gale and I've already communicated on that about 3 weeks ago, 4
Good,
weeks
good,
ago.
good.
Okay.
All right. So you'll be all set.
I presume so.
Cause I normally want some kind of a written thing from you to say, yeah, I want to continue.
Well, I'll check with Diane and see if she
Yeah,
needs anything.
That's what the process is.
Mm-hmm.
And I left a message for Ken and I gotta, get a hold of, the last one is, Rick. So I will get a hold of them.
So if I need to send a request or what have you.
You send it to select board, copy
Just
me.
select board, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now, when I looked at this list, there's a problem with this list that they're gonna have to correct it sometime. Cause we have 3 expiring in.
Oh, I already commented on that.
6
And they didn't
26.
before. Somebody
Screwed up,
screwed up.
yeah.
And I think it happened because they changed who was, controlling it, maintaining it.
Yeah,
And now, Margaret McCarthy knows nothing about this thing. And Nicole doesn't either. So, they're flying blind and so the dates are wrong because we were divided up so that if you had basically 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And that's what I said in my email back to them. I said, something happened, don't know what, but it's not good because everybody's gonna be up
yeah,
at once.
yeah, for continuity, you really don't want six people. You
Heck
could
no.
Effectively have 6 new members next year.
Right, right. So I already commented about that. Something happened, and the trouble is you can't go backwards. Because it's online and they changed it on the website.
You know,
So now. I don't know how you can figure it out.
So maybe next year what they'll do is they'll approve 6, but some for maybe.
2 years.
Some for 2 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, it was done right the first time.
Yeah,
And we haven't changed. The only change we had was recent, was Deb, and you took over from that. And so it should have been a continuous,
yeah.
Yeah, because hers was expiring this year.
right, so it would have been fine. So I don't know. I'm not sure what they did.
These peer reviews.
We don't have to do that.
We don't have to.
No,
But I will tell you that conservation does do it. And I think it's pretty effective,
Hmm,
but. Really, the only one we approve would be Paul, and he's only been here a short time, so that wouldn't be.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to be checked on that until about 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Based on the tenure of it.
and then the last thing that I just put in there is an FYI. It's in case anybody's interested in the fiber optic. That doesn't affect Connecticut, but it affects Southwick. It got voted down, as you can read in that.
Mhm.
And so they want to continue poking at it, hopefully get it passed. I don't know.
Or some subset of it.
Yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen is, it's gonna be some subset of the grandiose plan. And, it's, again, it's one of those things you gotta crawl before you walk.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. So. All right, anybody else have anything?
Yeah, I got some.
Yeah.
We talked about the depth of water in the culverts.
Yeah,
In and out,
good.
that type of thing. So I went and did this information about a week ago, when the lake level was about 224.5. Now, and I'll give a copy of this to you, Dick, so that.
0.5 or 5 inches?
224.5 inches, yeah,
Okay.
224.5 inches.
Okay,
I'll give a copy of this thing so that, you can do it if you wanna do it a little better than my handwritten note.
yeah, I'll get
Alright, so. This is at the South Pond. The
South
lake,
Culvert.
the lake level was 224.5 because it had been 5.5 and it dropped another day or two.
Yeah.
So we were about 224.5. Going, middle to the South Pond.
Mhm.
So I'm in the middle lake going to the South Pond. Outside of the entrance, couple of feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, doesn't matter. 79 inches deep of
Hmm.
water.
Mhm.
Inside, near the entrance, probably within a foot or two of the entrance, meaning I'm going right down with a tape measure now, not with my GPS. I have a very high-end GPS on the boat as
But you're
well.
measuring physical
But
water.
I'm physically measuring down with a tape measure. It was 52.5 inches deep of water,
Yep,
52.5.
that's
It's
right.
deep.
That's what it should be.
Okay,
Good.
an overhead clearance from the water to the top of the ceiling in there was 92 inches.
Yeah,
Now, inside near the exit, because the thing is, whether it's the bottom or whether it's the top,
no, it's both because it's a box that you purchase.
Okay, well, it's
So
slightly,
it's gotta be
there
identical.
again, you can't say it's perfect, but it's on an angle. It's
Yeah.
on a slight angle. So inside near the exit into the South Pond, it was 53 inches deep instead of the 52.5.
Yeah,
And the overhead clearance was about 91 inches. So I could be off a half.
yeah.
I mean, you're doing this standing on the back of a
It's essentially,
pontoon boat.
it's essentially a little over 4 feet,
I think the
4
more
feet, 4
important
inches.
thing though, was outside of the exit, it was not quite as deep as it always has been on the south side. 72 inches deep.
Yep,
And for the first 250 feet going to the right of the buoy, going to the
yeah,
right,
yep,
heading towards the docks, in other
Yep,
words, the
yep.
restaurant docks in between.
Yeah,
First 250 feet exiting into the South Pond averaged 5 to 6.5 feet. When I was a little bit off of that dock, that first dock.
yep,
I had 6.5 feet of water, and that's by the GPS now taking into effect the fudge factor.
basically,
Okay. So now on the other end, going down into the North Pond,
yep,
Lake level obviously is the same, going from the middle to the north pond. Outside of the entrance, 45 inches deep.
Yeah,
Inside near the entrance, 41.5 inches of water.
Wow, that's,
Overhead clearance, 100 inches.
yeah, it's a lot.
and you know why? Because the idiots that did the design, and I dinged them on it, because I had both sets of plans. And I said, how the hell can you have they had different, what do you call it, your baseline that they were using. They were off by 6 inches roughly.
It should have
And-
been in deeper. Should have
Right,
been
Deeper
deeper.
than deeper, that's all you get, way,
Okay.
way on the.
So the inside near the exit going into the north pond is 42 inches deep,
Mhm.
slightly deeper the water there, so it's on a slight angle.
Yeah,
The overhead clearance though was 103.
Yeah. there's-
Don't ask me why, I got
gotta
a
be
3 inch
identical,
difference.
you know, I mean.
Now,
Top to
outside,
bottom, it's gotta be
outside of the
identical.
exit, it was about 50 inches deep.
Yeah,
And the first 250 feet exiting into the north pond averaged anywhere from 4 to about 6 feet. So.
and you gotta stay,
And you better stay in the middle.
oh yeah.
There's no question, there's no
If
question
you
there.
drift a little bit right or left, you're in trouble.
So I promised I was gonna do that, and, the point I'm making is whether the lake is up or down a few inches. If anybody's hitting the bottom going in there, they should have either put their motor up a hair going into the north pond maybe,
Right,
but certainly in the south pond, there's no issues. You should never
Never
hit
hit
your
it.
bottom
No.
Yeah.
with a lower unit.
unless you're going in with a submarine.
Yeah, the only other thing I wanted to mention is the buoy that is off of Doobie's Point, directly across from White Street.
Okay,
Is that on a curly Q?
what do you mean?
Is that on a curly Q, anchored on a
yeah.
curly Q?
Oh, no, it's on an anchor.
That puppy is too far out from that.
And this is, which one now?
The one that's off of the,
Island or off of the peninsula in
off of the
Connecticut?
peninsula that's going out.
Yeah, it is too far out.
It's too far out.
Yeah,
It needs to be moved.
so do me a favor and send me an email or something. And with that observation, cause I'll forward it to Rick, and when he's out, cause he's the one that will move it.
Yeah.
We don't want 6 people.
Yeah.
That's still on an old manhole cover thing?
I was getting 15, 16 feet of water.
It got moved with the ice.
Yeah,
And I'm in the
put
middle.
back.
oh,
Oh, is that what
yeah,
happened
but
to
for
it?
a weight, it's a manhole cover holding it in.
Yeah.
It's not a curly thing.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I would like to see both of those, the one off the island and the one off the peninsula, both be screwed in. Because that ice in that area is tough.
Yeah,
We also want to eventually do the ones in the sandbar area.
Yeah, we need to tighten them up a little bit.
but we have GPS for all of those, so we should have picked that, we didn't pick that up this year, huh?
We don't, yeah,
Yeah, we don't check it, cause we
Don't
just
check.
hook.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
you
right.
see going into the middle, going to the middle of the middle pond, when you're
Yeah.
coming from the ramp,
yeah,
the big ramp. It looks pretty kosher, the 3 in a row on the
Yeah.
right hand side. But when you're coming from the other side, it's a little crazy. And that first buoy is out too far in the middle of the lake as
Yeah.
well. It's too far out. It's too far.
well, so comment on that,
Need to be tightened up a
Yeah.
little bit all around.
and we can.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can ask them to go back to the GPS and,
Yeah, check it out, probably 20 feet off.
yeah, they could be easily. And the other problem is we got, ones that think it's funny to move them. Boaters, that, kids think it's funny to move them, or drunks. And they do,
I might have bumped into one of them last year.
because I remember when,
And I wasn't drunk either.
remember when Bill Murdy was on this committee, and he lived on that point. And he'd hear him out there at night and ramming the buoys. And he'd go out and shine a light on them. And they would back up and then go and ram the buoy again.
I spent $105 just to have one of my props polished. An incident with that stainless steel chain. The chain won, my prop did not.
Yeah. Alrighty, anything else? You're gonna give me that or?
I am.
send me that? Okay,
There's the north, and here is the south. Yep.
excellent, okay. And so we can get that,
Think we're good.
The weir gates are clean. Water is flowing well,
Very good.
much to our
Now,
amazement.
do we have to adjust them up at all?
When the,
Maybe
when we
it's
go
done.
down another half an inch,
Still at 4.5 inches.
Yeah, yeah.
Has
But
it
how
moved?
much is going over it? That's how much.
Well, I measure, usually I measure how much is going over, cause the ruler kind of drifts all over the place
Yeah.
unless you get down in the canal. I use the stem sticking up because that should be.
You know what I have?
The
that I
rising
can-
stem, just like a valve.
Yeah, but you know what I have that I can give you? I have an oil stick.
And you can measure that way.
And you can-
5 inches.
let me tell you how crazy it is.
He knows that he goes.
One
down
of the,
there and checks
one of the
it.
two gates, I measured them the other day, one of the two gates, if you have two gates,
Yeah.
right, side by side. The front one on one side is the highest one.
It should be.
On the other side, it's the back one. Figure that one out.
Yeah.
How crazy that.
I asked Coombs about that, cause he's got the print still, he said, I'll go look it up for you.
Yeah.
'Cause he's got a-
And the whole idea there is to not keep them identical either. You
Right.
want.
Right.
You want one to be more of the controlling where extra can go over, the other one to
Yep.
be the, it's like a lead lag.
I've kept them like that most of the time, but I moved them both all the way to the bottom into the mud
Yeah,
months ago.
Oh, really?
To try to get the water down because
Dick,
it was
the
so
three
hot.
of us that maintain that whole area, the three of us.
Yeah.
That maintain that area, the minute it gets down a little bit more than it is, we'll start to taper it off. Start,
yeah. That's
we're
good.
gonna try to stay at that 224.4.
Yeah.
Wasn't that our goal?
Yeah.
We said last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, the beavers have been on strike, so we're fine.
Yeah, right.
They haven't done anything in the last month.
We'll do the best we can.
But they've been building a new condo unit.
Yes, that
Oh
was
my
incredible. You see
It's a
that picture?
100-unit condo.
That's a pretty picture.
That picture was.
Mother Nature can change things in a heartbeat, and if it's not that, it's the beavers.
All right, do we have anything else?
Nope.
Take a motion to adjourn.
I shall move.
All.
Second.
Why, second is Malcolm, all in favor?
I-
Opposed? Abstain? We're done. Adjourned.
Wait, did they send out an email? It's 6:29. Oh, you sent it at 6:29.